I was 28, fresh out of grad school and drowning in freelance graphic design gigs. Then, pottery class. Clay splattered everywhere, me struggling with a misshapen lump, and there's Mark. At 32, he was a rising star architect with a charming smile and eyes that crinkled at the corners when he genuinely laughed. Me, covered in clay and despair, him, effortlessly shaping a mug that looked like it belonged in a museum. That was our meet cute, and it was the beginning of a whirlwind romance. Weekends were spent curled up on our tiny apartment's worn out couch, binge watching cheesy Netflix horrors that somehow morphed into all nighters filled with popcorn and whispered secrets. Weekdays were a blur of laughter filled picnics in the park and stolen kisses during coffee breaks. Then, in 2018, our world exploded with joy. Ethan. Our little sunshine with messy brown hair and a laugh that could melt glaciers, he was the missing piece in our puzzle. Life wasn't perfect, of course. Money was tight, and freelance work was never a guarantee. But with Ethan's arrival, it all felt manageable, a beautiful chaos we were ready to navigate together. Then, the cracks began to show. Subtle at first, like late nights at the office morphing into 3 a.m. stumbles through the door. Mark reeked of something metallic and musky, a smell that clung to him like a bad memory. "Honey, you smell awful," I'd say, trying to mask my growing unease with a playful nudge. "And what's that on your sleeve?" His smile, usually goofy and charming, would falter for a beat. "Oh, just some leftover paint from the shop. Long day, you know?" Except, there was never paint on his clothes during the day, and the metallic tang wasn't going away. It started clinging to him, a constant reminder of the nights I spent alone, the space between us growing wider with each passing sunrise. Then, one Tuesday morning in July 2019, our world shattered. Ethan's bed was empty, no goodbye note, just a chilling silence thicker than fog. The police were, well, let's just say they weren't exactly on my side. They kept glancing at Mark, his forced calm a stark contrast to my raw grief. That night, lost in a sea of despair, a memory surfaced from a seemingly innocent conversation months ago. Mark mentioned a new gourmet club he'd joined, where members talked about exotic meats and pushing culinary boundaries. It sent shivers down my spine. "Exotic meats?" I'd asked, trying to mask my unease with a playful jab. His laugh, a little too forced, had brushed it off. Now it felt like a brick hitting me in the gut. Desperate for answers, I hired Jack, a gruff ex-cop with a heart of gold and a nose for trouble. What he found was a nightmare. Hidden cameras in our apartment, footage of Mark leaving in the dead of night with a bulky shape slung over his shoulder, a shape that looked suspiciously like Ethan's favorite blue backpack. Denial gave way to a cold, searing rage. My perfect husband, the charming man who'd built a life with me, was a monster. The evidence, the metallic tang, the late nights, it all clicked into a horrifying picture. Armed with Jack's findings, I marched into the police station in 2019, proof clutched in my trembling hands. They were skeptical. Mark, respected architect, pillar of the community. Me, a grieving mother fueled by what they deemed hysteria. The judge, a man with a permanently furrowed brow, sided with them. "Not enough evidence," he said. "Runaway case, most likely. Custody battles turned ugly." My lawyer, a seemingly kind woman named Ms. Davis, painted me as an unstable mother. The world swam in a haze of accusations, court dates, and the crushing weight of grief. Then, another blow. Through meticulous digging, Jack unearthed a horrifying truth. Ms. Davis was part of the very cult Mark belonged to. Tears streamed down my face, a mixture of fury and despair. They were all in it together, a network of darkness disguised in respectability. But I wouldn't break. Ethan's memory fueled me, a silent promise echoing in the emptiness of my heart. The news wouldn't let this one go. The raid on the warehouse in 2019 was swift and brutal. Over 25 people were arrested, including Ms. Davis and the cult leader, a charismatic but deeply unsettling person. And I forgot to talk about Mark's family. Nothing much happened to them during the court process. Only when the evidence came out, were they getting flamed, they got attacked by a group of men. So they had to move out of state, and Mark and Ms. Davis were sentenced to life in prison. I guess that's what they get, 'cause turns out they were seeing each other, and it was Davis who introduced him to the cult. So yeah, I'm glad that's done. I still think about Ethan every day. He's in better hands now with the Lord.